What is good, everybody? Welcome to Project Freedom, brought to you by Dream Publications. My name is Emmanuel Wallace, leader and founder of Dream Publications, and I'm partnered with my boy.
Brother Daniel Lewis. But yeah, my name is Daniel Lewis, and I'm another person in Christ, just like Emmanuel here, and we're just here, and we're just here to talk about things. We have conversations like this all the time, but this is just something to bring it on more of a, how can I say, more of a level to where everyone else can hear it.
Yeah,
You know,
and we usually have these conversations for like 3, 4, 6 hours sometimes, and we just
yes,
talk about Jesus. So
just going
we just
off the
want,
dome.
yeah, and we just wanted to bring some of our wisdom and knowledge to you guys, our viewers, and just have conversations about what we think and maybe what you think in the future. And today's topic is walking on purpose. I'll let Daniel start us off today because he did his research as he told me. So I'll let him start it off. What do
Yes.
you think that really means?
Now, like before we get into that, will we say walking on purpose and walking in purpose? Could that be considered the same thing?
It could be taken in more than one way. So
Yeah,
walking
but
in and on purpose.
well, I would say because usually you hear in, but on is like a different thought. So
Yeah.
walking on purpose. I
I'll
would
let you start and I'll
say,
show you how it ties in.
yeah, I would say when I first on the first thought of it, I would say walking on purpose is more so it's like it's like it's mm, it's like walking into your purpose, but when you're walking into your purpose, I would consider that more so you're already in, and you're kind of already you're already into the motions. But I would say like walking on purpose, you're walking and there's a purpose behind it, but you don't know.
Yeah, in some cases you might know. So you were talking about Jonah earlier. You wanna give us a little recap about that? Like how would he be walking in or on purpose and not at all?
Would he wait, as in like is he walking on purpose?
Hmm. Do you think in the
Okay.
beginning Jonah was walking on purpose?
Mm, yes. Actually, yes. Now the question that comes down to it, was it good or was it bad? Now,
I think.
was it now at first it was good. His intention of walking was good because it was on the purpose of God's will. But
Hmm.
when he was then sent to how do you pronounce it? Neve?
Nineveh.
Yeah, Nineveh. Some of these Bible terms, I can't get them right. But how you say it again?
Nineveh.
So when he was sent to Nineveh to preach to the city, they would make the certain change that God wouldn't destroy the city. Of course, before that, as a son of God and whatnot, and being sent to do his work and his will, he's walking on purpose. But when he's sent there, now he's hit with the thought and motive of, I don't want to go. So he went from good purpose to now walking on bad purpose because it's going against God's will.
Hmm.
So that is just more so of the introduction and rundown of the story of Jonah.
Exactly. And as a result, he got swallowed by a big fish until he realized after how
Yep,
many days? Was it 3 days, 3 nights that he was in there?
yep, 3 days, 3 nights.
3 nights of praying, probably
He was
fasting too.
he was in there. He was in there like an apostolic fast, 3 days, 3 nights.
He was not getting out of there either until he made up his mind. I'm gonna do it.
Yep. He, one thing about it that I've learned in the Bible have many examples. God got a way of slapping pride right out of you. So
Yes, bro. And
yeah,
it's not uncommon for him to do something a little bit crazy sometimes to get the point across.
yep. Because it's like I showed you and I told you, but you wouldn't listen. So I had to get down to your level and really show you. Because it's like God is not playing. It's not a game. It's not. as we said, that is like more so like a rundown introduction into Jonah's story. So are we gonna go more in depth into Jonah?
We can if you want to.
Okay, so now as our topic is walking on purpose.
Hmm.
Now we're walking on purpose. As we stated, his purpose was good at first, but it was then changed because God sent him somewhere and he was being disobedient. Now,
Exactly.
of course, Jonah's story, it's a very known story in the Bible. A lot of people know it, but if you don't know it, he was sent to the city to preach that they would make a change and God would not destroy the city. He did not want to go and do it because that God was he knows that God is a merciful God. And if he went and did it, God would forgive him, but he did not want that. So he went on a boat to go away, and God God caused the storm to come while he was on the boat. And of course, the sailors and they found out and whatnot. And Jonah told them to throw him out of the boat into the water. And then, of course, this is a lot, but
You good?
he and then he got swallowed. He got swallowed by a whale, and he was in there for 3 days and 3 nights. God sent the whale. Let me make sure I say that too. God sent the whale after he was thrown into the water and whatnot, and he was in there for 3 days and 3 nights. And of course, while he was in there, he lost all his pride, and he realized that the clay can't talk back to the potter, He can't.
Mm.
He realized that. So he lost his pride, and of course, he prayed and he pleaded with God. I don't know the scripture word for word, but he was basically asking God to deliver him. And he after that, God, and then after that, the whale threw him up, basically, God delivering him from the whale. He went and did what God told him to do. And the thing about that is with walking on purpose, this is just a little fun fact or subtopic, whatever you want to call it. When walking on purpose, we have to we have to we have to let God lead and guide us, and we can't lead with our own thought and our own motives and stuff, because God is God and he's a keeper. So he's going to keep you. And you wouldn't, and your main objective, regardless of all your objectives, is to please God. So with that, he's going to keep you in line. And the thing about that is, when you don't get in line when he tells you to, he puts you back in. And the thing about that is, when he does that, it's not pleasant. It's not
Nope.
pleasant at all. Because
And I,
not
to go
because
off.
because when you think about it, if Jonah knew that he was going to be swallowed by a whale and he was going to be in there for 3 days and 3 nights, I don't think he would have ran away.
He definitely would have been. He would not have.
Oh, yeah,
But then that
but
got me
that's
thinking, bro. Like that got me thinking, like, why are we walking? Like, why are we
yeah,
walking in the first place? And I was doing my studying yesterday. Was it
yeah.
yesterday, or was it was probably the day before? And I was thinking about, what Psalm 51:11 says?
Psalms 50 and 11.
51:11.
If you say it, I probably know it.
It cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah, I
You
know
know that
that one.
one? And
Yeah,
then we could talk about Psalm 16:1. Preserve me, O God, for in thee do I put my trust. So if Jonah would have considered those two things, one, his trust should have been in God and not his own ability, or even the people's desire to change, he wouldn't have to go through that. And then two, if he really cared about what God, well, he did, but he didn't consider consequences about who God was and how his spirit was with him in the process, he wouldn't have ended up in the same predicament, which I think when we say walking on purpose, I think we're mainly talking about intentionality. And then you're talking about
yeah,
walking in purpose too, which is another. That's like the same. It's on the side of that, sense.
Yeah,
Like when you walk in purpose, you have to be intentional about walking on purpose too.
yeah. Now I actually think about it. Walking on purpose is like it's literally what it says. Walking
Yeah.
on purpose.
Like you're walking for a reason, like not just to walk to look the part, but to actually be the part and live it out. That's how I feel
Yeah,
when I hear that.
yeah,
And it's
like being intentional.
yeah. And then in Galatians 5:25, we can talk about if we live in the spirit, let us also walk in the spirit. Like a
Yep.
lot of us, a lot of people we hear, we've seen it, even in our own churches. Sometimes people say they have it and they walk the complete opposite way. Like no, like Jonah,
Yeah.
he said he had faith, but where was he going?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah. Yeah. And
good,
then
good.
it's like when you walk in the spirit, you can't go wrong.
Mm-mm. But when you
Can't
try
go
to
wrong.
combat the spirit, then what happens?
Yeah. Because it's like because the because people they 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 lead they think and they operate too much with their natural and their flesh. Because
And what is
it's
the
like,
flesh?
wait, what is the flesh?
Yeah,
Mm, the flesh is your subconscious mind that's not spiritual.
to the opposition of the spirit.
Well, yeah, that too. It's the opposition of the spirit. Everything that opposes who God is and what God is.
Okay, continue.
But it's like too many times people they lead with their flesh, and whether it's mentality or motive, they lead with that too much because Galatians 5:16 plainly tells you walk in the spirit.
Yeah,
Because you can't go wrong, as I'm gonna read a little bit. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. These are contrary to these are contrary the one to the other. So they're against each other. And when you get saved, you say yes to God and no to the devil, the world, your flesh, because it's all connected. And as Christians, still too much people lead with their flesh too much, and
right.
it's not good. It's not
And they're
good.
constantly clashing too. So you have to be very considerate about where your thoughts are, where your time is, and how you're using those things as well.
Yeah, because when you're, like the topic walking on purpose, when you know what you're supposed to be doing, you know why you're doing something, and you're doing it and you're intentional. When something rises up to distract you, you won't pay it any attention because it's like, I have to do this and I know why I have to do this, and my focus is there and I don't have time for that.
Right. And no matter how much it attacks you, the first person you should go to is the one you're relying on, which is Jesus, you know?
Yep.
And that's all I gotta say. Like when you are walking on purpose and then in purpose, which comes from God, because I feel like all meaningful purpose is given from above, even if you don't know it. So
Yes.
whether you're just helping an old lady cross the street, that's purpose. I mean, you're helping somebody. None of us are
Yeah.
living here for ourselves. I mean, everybody want to be self-made. That's not walking on purpose. That's not walking in purpose. Just walking for your own ego, basically. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And just you walking in on purpose, you don't know what the effect, or you don't know the effect that you can have. You don't
exactly.
know the effect. You don't know the effect that you can have from what people tell you, and just from people watching and they don't tell you.
That is so true. Like, haven't you had experiences where people will come up to you and say, "You really blessed my day," or like something similar to that, just for being around?
Yeah, like I've had just because I completed school and whatnot, so I go back up there probably. Well, I'm gonna be up there like probably 3 times a month, but I've been up there twice already because I had to sort some things out. And I was talking to someone who I talked to, a staff member, about careers and stuff like that. And she was telling me, she says she says, I know you're not leaving and whatnot, but she says when the time comes and you leave, she said, make sure you go around and you talk to everybody because she says people really love you in the school. Like she, just everything. Like I've always been told, even before I got saved because of how I was raised and whatnot and coming up in church, but even after, the Holy Ghost just added on to it. And,
Exactly.
people like, he's so sweet, he's so nice and respectful and whatnot. Like, freshman year, I had my football coach and whatnot. Even after freshman year, when I didn't play sports anymore, and I would be like, you be around the people, and I'd be around my teammates and whatnot, even though I didn't play sports anymore. Every time my teacher got on the topic, I'd be so uncomfortable too, because like my teacher get on the topic of, because she has a daughter and whatnot, and boys will be boys, and
Mm-hmm.
she always like, oh, the only one I would let date my daughter is that one, and point at me. I'm like, and I just be sitting there. I'm like,
Me?
I don't, but you don't know the effect that you have on people, and it's only twice I've really it's two different situations. Like the second one, it's shown that she really she has a level of respect for me as a Christian, and she knows that I'm real. I don't, I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm real.
Fabricated.
Yeah, I'm certified. G10 classification. I'm classified. And then even the first one, she when she had talked to me and she found out I was a Christian, she was shocked. And then she was really saying, like, I knew it was something different about you. And it's like when you walk on purpose, you don't know the effect you have on people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, even the occasional when you're doing things and then God says, oh, go say that to this person or go do this, go do that, like you don't know the effect you have on people.
Right. And it's just small things. Like even when you don't mean to do a whole big thing for someone, if you do it with the in the mind that you're not doing it to boost your own ego, I feel like that definitely helps too. Like
Yeah.
humility is another thing that people don't talk about when it comes to pursuing your purpose.
Yeah,
Like,
humility it's huge.
it cannot be about you. Like I promise you. Like that was what happened with Jonah. He was thinking more about himself than anybody. Like his own conviction about how they should be treated by God.
Yeah, he's being selfish.
Mm-hmm. He's like, they don't deserve to be forgiven. Look at them.
Yeah, and
They,
then yep. And then also another thing, like even with just in purpose and when you're not in the right and when you're in the wrong, whether it's mindset or motive, just anything, another thing, God, he makes it so to where he'll let you know and it's so plain and you understand. Because right after he got through doing what God told him to do, he sat under the leaf. A caterpillar came. Well, it says worm. Well, I'm not even gonna. It says worm, and it came and ate the leaf, and then there was a hole in the leaf, and the sun was beating on Jonah's head, and then he got angry, and then he got rebuked by God because it's like, see, what are you doing? And it's just God just being who He is and just being great, just being
yeah,
great and being who He is. He doesn't leave you out to dry. He's there with you and you're wrong. He's there all the way.
exactly. And he walks on purpose too. He move on purpose.
Yep.
And yeah, one of my favorite scriptures, Psalms 46:1. You know that one? It's a song too.
I, I know a lot of scriptures. I know a lot of scriptures when I hear them. I just don't know where they at.
I know. I just wrote it down. That's the only reason why I remember where it's at. I never remember where they are, bro. But it's
Yeah.
God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, come on now, come on. You can't
Yeah.
tell me that's not intentional. Like, and then he says,
And
"Fear not, I'll never leave you, never forsake you." Like, never? That's intentional right there.
yeah,
That's
and then even even in situations that life will take you, whether you just situations life will take you, in that trial and tribulation or just in that tragedy, you'll learn that you can truly lean and rely on God, You'll truly learn that.
Yeah.
You'll truly learn that, like you'll learn like I testified it once in church and I said I used to like I said how I testified and whatnot, and I said I would talk to my mom and I would say God is this, God is that, and God is that. And she would say, son, that's good that you know, but how do you know that? And I said, well, I don't know by experience, but I read it in his word and I believe it. So I'm going off belief and faith.
Mm-hmm.
But, I testified through my trial, I've learned, I know now through experience, not I know from faith and belief, but now I know from experience unto him who is able to keep me from falling. That, if I rely on him, I don't have to worry about failing. I don't
Yes,
have to worry
bro.
about that. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to fear. I don't have to worry about nothing. I can just keep my eyes on God and everything will be fine.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. And you know that is faith and belief at the same time.
Yep. And with that, I know with him, I know I can have peace in the midst of a storm.
Yes, sir.
Have peace that surpass all understanding.
Yes, sir. He is the Prince of Peace.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's the reason why it says peace that surpasses all understanding, because it's peace that if a person look at it, I don't understand how you have peace right now and you dealing with that.
Yeah, because it's supernatural. And people don't believe that, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy how such it seems small. Like it really seems small. Like faith these days seems small, but it's so big at the same time. Like if you really take, I feel like to me, choice is probably the biggest thing that we have. Like we have to choose what we want to do with our lives, and if we're
Choice.
willing to give it, yeah, choice, bro,
Yeah,
free
yeah,
will.
choice.
If we didn't
Yeah.
have free will, it'd be meaningless, you know?
Yeah. Free will is something that's free will and choice is something, it's like the pinnacle of salvation.
Exactly,
It's
because you have to choose. Like,
it's the
if,
beginning, it's the pinnacle, it's the start, you know.
mm-hmm,
And just this might be off topic, but just like just with choice and whatnot, like sometimes the question might be asked, why are we born in sin? From the beginning. Like, of course, what Adam did, eating of the apple, and it, well, oh my goodness, my mind is all over the place, but eating of the, not an apple, just to correct that, but eating of the fruit, a fruit of knowledge of good and evil. Yes, it was bad, but honestly, it was meant to happen. Because if it wasn't supposed to happen, it wouldn't have happened. Because and like before it even happened, God saw all of this coming down.
mm-hmm.
Adam eating of the apple, ugh, eating of the fruits. Lord help me, not the apple, but eating of the fruit, and then God coming down and wrapping Himself up in flesh and dying on the cross, and then rising 3 days later, and then going away again and sending the Comforter. It was
Mm-hmm.
meant to happen. But another thing that people need to understand is that it all, because with that, it gave you what you didn't have, which was free will. And
Mm-hmm. Well, they have free will. That's why he chose to do that.
yeah, so we have free will, and with free will, God has people that truly love Him.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I,
how
I
can
do have
I,
a question though.
what's up? What's your
So
question?
you said it was meant to happen that way. You think?
Yeah, yeah, because the way I see it is like God of course, He made earth and He made animals, He made bugs and all this, but it was a
Mm-hmm.
certain glory that He was looking for. A
I feel
certain
like he had it
glory.
in there. Like
Uh,
I think for me, I think like
yeah,
uh in the beginning in the Garden of Eden, I feel like that's where he wanted it. Like where he had like constant relationship and communication with us. We
yeah,
had still have free will at that time. I feel like because otherwise Eve wouldn't have taken the fruit, right? Or even
yeah,
Adam. So I feel like he knew what would be the result of our mistake, but I don't know if he really intended for that to be what happened. Like I say, we make mistakes all the time, and he knows what's gonna happen next and how to guide us afterwards, or if we choose to allow him to guide us afterwards. But then I don't really think he plans for the mistakes too. I think and the successes. I feel like
Yeah, I can see what you're saying because at the same time, it's like
would
when
he want to curse his children?
yeah, I see exactly what you're saying because with what I said at the same time, he was going to destroy the earth, and he even repented for making a creation that was that evil.
Yeah,
But
after the fact
through
though.
yeah, and through Noah's faithfulness, of course, they through Noah's faithfulness, they weren't destroyed and they were able to replenish the earth. But I can see exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, it's cool though. Like it's really a
But
mystery, like how that works.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. The Bible it's just one of those. It's just one of those books that if you pick it up, you ain't gonna be able to put it down.
Exactly. I'm gonna check something real quick. So I'm gonna